Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum, where all voices matter. As we roll into 2024, Canadians are contending with the federal government's plans to phase out the sale of gas and diesel-powered vehicles by 2035. Here to discuss this is Colin Craig. He is the president of Second Street, a Canadian think tank. Welcome back to the program, Colin.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
First, let me just sort of grapple with this and get your thoughts on it. In a decade or so, we as consumers can only buy electric vehicles in this country. First, what do you expect in terms of the marketplace? Because of now, there's not a lot of choice for low-income consumers, let's put it that way, a budget buyer, as it were. So where are all these cars going to be coming from?
It's a very good question, and I don't think policymakers in Ottawa have a very good answer for it. Of course, this is a decision that's come down from Ottawa. Like you said, they're banning the sale of new gas-powered vehicles by 2035, and they're trying to really push everyone towards electric. My understanding is that their regulations in that don't say it has to be electric, so it could be some other form like hydrogen-powered vehicles, maybe something else. But they're definitely trying to push everyone towards electric. Everything Ottawa is doing, they're funding charging stations, huge subsidies for companies that are making electric vehicles and so forth. So that's the push. As you've alluded to, electric cars cost a heck of a lot of money. So that really begs the question, well, what are people going to do if they're low income and don't have the funds to purchase electric cars? It sounds like you'll still be able to buy used gas-powered vehicles. So I suspect what we're going to see over the next while, if this plan continues, is that the cost of used vehicles will continue to go up because consumers will continue to want these vehicles. The demand isn't there right now for electric cars. A lot of Canadians are turning away from those options. Some people like them and love them, and that's fine. But for a lot of Canadians, it's still not a solution that works for them.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's increasing evidence. I'm talking in real time now, not projections in the future, but there is increasing evidence that electric vehicles are not really increasing their percentage of the car market. Presumably, there may be some evidence that it's cost-conscious consumers that really can't afford electric vehicles, or maybe there are some other reasons. Is this something that you've noted as well in your research?
Yeah, it is something that we found out. And, if you think about the situation we're in right now, the number one issue in the country is the cost of living. A lot of Canadian households are struggling. Interest rates have obviously risen, as you well know. The cost of food in grocery stores has gone up dramatically. All kinds of bills that Canadians are facing keep going up and up and up and up. So people are trying to find ways to save money, and going out and buying an electric vehicle just isn't something that a lot of people are looking at right now, because they cost a lot more. And so some analysis that we obtained from the Alberta government showed that they compared similar vehicles. And what they found was that electric cars tended to cost about double the price of a similar gasoline-powered vehicle. I was surprised by that. I didn't think the gap was that high, but that's what their analysis showed. They had a couple examples in their research. One was a Chevy Bolt. They calculated that the electric version of that was about $45,000, whereas a similar Chevy vehicle called the Trax, which was a gas-powered vehicle, was about $22,000. So 45 versus 22.
Yeah.
If you're a household that's struggling, we know which one you're going to be going for.
And as I recall, Chevy Volt is a kind of a compact or subcompact vehicle. So again, designed for the budget market.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the type of vehicle that someone's going to be purchasing if you're in that lower middle income bracket and you're trying to get an electric car. That's the one you're probably going to be looking at. But it does cost quite a bit more. So while we're in this period of people struggling to pay their bills and worried about renewing their mortgages with higher interest rates and so forth, it's hard to see how people are going to start purchasing electric vehicles in waves like Ottawa's trying to push Canadians to do.
Yeah, we've got about 20 seconds before the break, but they're phasing this in. But the first phase of this is this year, isn't it?
I'd have to double check the numbers. You're right. They are phasing it in. I think it's by 2026, it has to be
6.
about 20% of the vehicles. It could be
That's it.
wrong, but you're
Yeah.
right. They're phasing.
Yeah, 2026, I think, is 20% of the vehicles sold. With that, we're going to take a little bit of a break from Colin Craig. We'll be back after these messages. Please stay with us.